Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to the second episode of our Mindcraft discussion on ACOA issues, adult children of alcoholics. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am thrilled beyond imaginability to entertain this discussion today. It's so important. You know, it was going on huge in the 80s, and then it seems like kind of like dropped off a little bit. So it's kind of like the ACOA revival here, I guess we're saying. So first of all, a little disclaimer. Even though it's kind of obvious, this is not in place. These discussions in general, or any of my videos, are not meant to be in place of professional treatment. They're informational only. So there we go. So today we're going to talk about the shame-blame cycle, which also involves guilt. There's also a lot of guilt in addicted families. And so, as mentioned in the last episode, I'll just keep saying it in case somebody jumps in, you know, and who hasn't watched the first one. I have two alcoholic parents. One in recovery, one not so much, and then some addicted extensions. So anyway, shame. So shame versus guilt. We need to first establish this before we go another inch. So guilt has the message of I made a mistake. Guilt is an action word. Guilt has a job of keeping us from doing bad things to people, like punching them in the schnozy or spreading a rumor or something like that. And it's meant to be temporary. Like, we get it, shouldn't have done that. Hopefully feel some empathy, fix it, you know, apologize, you know, do something nice, you know, whatever. It's meant for that. When guilt is held on, oh, there go the goats. When guilt is held on to for too long, that's also not healthy. Like, even if the person legitimately said something wrong or whatever, hanging on to that is really, really toxic. Guilt is a gigantic waste of emotion that we could be using for other things. That said, it's very present in addicted families. And I actually remember walking around sometimes getting a wave of guilt, not even knowing why. Like, because I'm alive, because the clouds shifted, planets are misaligned, like, who knows? It's because, remember, little kids are picking up on stress and conflict and tension, even when they don't have language for it, you know. A lot of times that goes right in the vault, because memories before 3, we can't remember before 3, basically. You might say, oh, yes, I do. No, you really don't. Unless there was trauma there. And even then, traumatic memories are also, we'll get into that in another episode. It's too much for right now, but also get skewed. So a lot of that is the feelings we have as adults come from the first, you know, in that first 3 years when, you know, picking up on all kinds of issues, you know, things said to us, whatever. Okay, so shame, different from guilt. Instead of saying I made a mistake, shame says I am the mistake. I am the mistake. Shame is about feeling defective and flawed, broken like damaged goods, not enough. In a gazillion of ways we can be not enough. Shame is, without question, the most toxic emotion a human being can feel, which is why it's a very strong cycle, because parents in an addicted home, not that you have to have an addicted home to have shame. However, it makes up the foundation, like the bricks of an addicted home is shame. It's just a toxic emotion about not feeling enough and feeling defective. So since it is the most excruciating feeling a human being can feel, we want to get rid of it. And so addicted parents, because you don't have to be addicted, let's say, keep it simple, addicted parents often unconsciously just throw it like a hot potato, like, here you go, to the 4-year-old, to the 3-year-old, to the partner, to the friend, to whatever. Here you go, 4-year-old. Here's the shame. Or here you go, teenager, because I can't take it. I can't stand feeling this badly about myself, this broken, this damaged as a person, as a parent, as a provider for the family, as just whatever. It's just this. In fact, shame is the spiritual and emotional equivalent of drinking turpentine, poison, you know, for breakfast instead of orange juice. It's that bad. It just infiltrates the spirit and causes a mess of problems. And in my opinion, if we could eradicate shame and heal the world of shame, we would have very few problems left on any level. Personally, nationally, global, anything. Just would be gone, because shame is the worst. Okay, so here's the thing, and why blame goes with shame, right? Because people are feeling not enough and defective, and everybody wants to put it someplace else because it's too much. It's too excruciating. And so what we need to do is become aware of when we're blaming others, even if it's legitimate. Okay, when there's an adult in a child in any situation and there's abuse of that child, it is 100%, I don't say that often, 100% the adult's fault. Doesn't matter what she's wearing, what she said, what he was wearing, what it does, none of it matters, because when there's an adult and a child and there's child abuse, it's always 100% the adult's fault. So just say that right off the bat. And here's the thing, no matter what happened as a child, we want to blame that adult. And again, legitimately, maybe the uncle did something to the 5-year-old. It's all legit. Yet when we continue to blame, actively blame, and that means it's external from us, which means if we're going to heal, think about the logic before you hang up on me. Please don't hang up. Well, you can hang up on if you want, because I don't want to say that. If it's not comfortable, definitely do. So let's say, even if whatever happened out here is legit, totally legit, child abuse stuff, maybe even by hanging on to that, blaming that person, that's external. So that means that that means that we can't heal on the inside because we have to wait for change to happen on the outside, of which we have no control. In fact, that person could be in jail or dead or whatever, and the healing isn't going to happen until we take our power back. So then you say, oh, she must be going to the place of forgiveness. Yes, I am, and letting it go. And I'm not talking about religion here, not one bit. I'm talking about from a psychological, secular perspective, okay? So there are reasons people hang on. One, because it's habitual, they're just used to it, okay? And ACOAs are often in survival mode, so they kind of hang on and hang on and hang on because it's what they're used to doing, like rescue rafts just all over the place. Even when they're not healthy, they can still be comfortable. Very important to know that. Especially when we weren't treated well as kids, we can often feel comfortable with unpleasant feelings and can even know that. We can also become comfortable with not being treated well, which is another episode. But anyway, the forgiveness thing. Okay, so here are the blockers to forgiveness. Number one, that it gives him a pass. No, it doesn't. We're talking about the child abuse situation because it's more extreme and easier. Okay, so whenever there's an adult and a child, it's the adult's fault. It does not give him a pass. Absolutely not. That's the number one blocker. So the only way to get past that is to choose to. This does not give him a pass. I don't care what he thinks. It doesn't matter what he thinks because I'm done now. I am done. I'm taking my power back. Another one is that age-old cliche of forgiveness is forgetting. No, that's just a phrase. And right there, that takes me to Claudia Black, and I know I mentioned her in the first episode. I was in an ACOA group at St. Mike's, as mentioned, with Dr. Dave. It was a fantastic, fantastic group. And we all went to watch her, pioneer of the ACOA movement back then. And right when she dove into forgiveness, I was just so attenuated. So she right away says, think about this. Well, she didn't say this part about the computers because that was back then. But the mind is not like a computer. We can't just delete memories, right? We can't just delete memories. It doesn't work like that. Anyone who's experienced trauma knows that because the memories do anything but go away on their own. They keep intruding. So anyway, Claudia says forgiveness, contrary to popular belief and cliche, has nothing to do with forgetting. Nothing to do with forgetting. It has everything to do with remembering and choosing to move forward. Everything to do with remembering and choosing to move forward. Choice. And for anyone who's been through trauma, voice and choice are huge. Wrap yourselves right around these words. So we can make the choice to let it go. It does not give them a pass. It says, you've taken enough from me and I'm done. There's also only so much emotional energy we have to give at any one day to our partners and our kids and our job, career callings and our hobbies, what we love to do, friends, all of it, animals, everything. And so if we're giving a big old slice of pie to so-and-so who did whatever 20 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, think of those wasted life minutes. So if they haven't already taken enough, now we're giving them more? That makes no sense. And so Dr. Jakes, also a friend, he doesn't know, he's a friend of Oprah's. Any friend of Oprah's is a friend of mine. So he said it was a show, for me it was like a showstopper, pump moment, as Oprah said, pump moment. Dr. Jakes said, basically paraphrase, when we hang on to our past history, it's at the expense of our destiny. Think of that. Think when we hang on to our history, our past history, it's at the expense of our destiny because we're giving a big old slice of that 100% we wake up with every day, a bright, shiny new day, and we give it away, just life minutes down the drain. Whoever did whatever to you is not worth that, and you are worth having all 100% of those life minutes to give to everyone in your life, especially you. Okay, so that's the other reason. And the last blocker here is that people think that they're waiting for the heavens to part and for the forgiveness fair to come down and wave a wand. Well, guess what? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. We have to choose it. We have to consciously choose to let it go. And also realize that it's a process, just like grief or any kind of healing. It doesn't mean, forgive, and then you slip back into it a little bit. So we're aiming for progress, not perfection. We don't want to shame ourselves over trying to forgive. That's sort of contrary to what we're trying to do here. So progress, not perfection. Realize forgiveness and letting it go is a process. So blame, shame, and guilt also cycle. For this is kind of the foundation, okay, for what we're going to be talking about when we get into all the rest of it with the roles and the codependency and the not feeling enough and the need for control and external approval, blah, 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 blah. All has its roots in shame. All of it. So I'm trying to keep these short. That was actually longer than I wanted to, but we're going to keep them nice and digestible. Thank you for listening today. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.